Hi guys, I'm here with you in my extremely dirty garage to discuss the value of your guitar. It's kind of a hard thing to quantify because guitars have an intrinsic value, they have a sentimental value, and they have what I would refer to as an actual value. And for fun, they have a pawn value. So let's start with the pawn value. If you're trying to sell a guitar to a pawn shop, you can expect to get half to maybe only 40% of what it might actually be worth. Most pawn shops around here, I live in the South, are probably going to offer you 25% of what it's worth, maybe 30%, just because they're going to sell it for 40 to 60% down here. Now, there are several shops who don't know what they have. That's what I love about pawn shops. Sometimes they'll sell things that they don't understand the actual value of it, and they don't understand, or they may understand that it's worth something, but not know how much, and in those cases they'll generally overprice. So a pawn value is not really something to gauge an actual value of a guitar off of. Now, intrinsic value, for instance, the intrinsic value of this Fender Squier would be about $60 to $100. Is basically what a guitar is actually just worth, just in parts and its availability. So a Fender Squier is not going to be worth all that much. Now, you guys might remember this guitar. I got this guitar for 60 bucks at a pawn shop, but I put on this very nice Mavericks bridge. I put in this John 5 pickup, all new electronics. We leveled the frets. We put on these awesome Fender American Standard tuners. And honestly, these guys are one of the best upgrades I've ever made to a Squier. They just work so well. So you're looking at a guitar that's probably got about $300 of stuff into it. I probably couldn't sell it for close to that price. Now, if I found somebody who really knew what all this stuff was, and somebody who was looking for all that stuff, yeah, I could sell it for probably $250 maybe. But the fact that I've done all those modifications to it, a pawn shop's going to look at it and go, it's just a Squier. It's got 21 frets. It's got 3 pickups. That's all they're going to look at. They're not going to go, oh, well, that's a nice pickup, that's a nice bridge, whatever. So whenever you're customizing your guitar, many times you're actually lessening the value, the intrinsic value. But that's where we get into sentimental value. And that is where the largest value exists in the guitar market. And I don't just mean it's sentimental to you because of whatever, because there's the value of provenance. If you can prove that something has belonged to Jimi Hendrix, for instance, you may have one of the highest selling instruments in the world. A 59 Les Paul, for instance, realistically is not worth much more than what it's made from. The wood and the time put in it, But the fact that it's a 59 Les Paul adds a lot of sentimental value to the older cats or the people who just want that, that top of the line, so to speak, Gibson. They'll be after it. But realistically, is it worth that much? No, because as with any technology, back in the day, it started one way and the technology just got better and better. So guitars these days are constructed differently and built, are being built that are light years beyond what they were doing in terms of, sustainability and strength and playability. But the fact that that's a 59 Gibson and all the rock stars, famous rock stars played Gibson Les Pauls and all that kind of stuff, it makes the value go up insanely high. Honestly, a modern day Ibanez could be built better, and many times is built better than a vintage Gibson, but the vintage Gibson is always going to blow it away in price just because of that provenance, just because of that that pedigree, you could say. So if you have a guitar and you're looking to know the actual value of it, you really need to use logic and take your emotions out of the situation. I was having in the comments of my Super Strat video about this, a gentleman named Gumbalicious1, I think, was talking about how all the mods I made to it aren't going to make it more valuable. And he's right for the most part. I could get a little bit more cash for it than it being a $60 Squire, and if I find the right person, I could get slightly more. But regardless, it's just like a classic car. You're going to lose money building it unless you're doing it in bulk for the most part. A guitar, truthfully, bottom line, is going to be worth as much as someone will pay for it. If you're selling a guitar to somebody, if you're a little bit of a salesman, if you put a little bit of work into it, you can get a little bit of extra money out of it. But realistically, it's market value. If everybody woke up one morning and went, wow, 50s Gibson Les Pauls are great, but their pickups are actually kind of dull, and their headstocks do tend to snap off when you bump them too hard, and all that, and you kind of realize the value would go down, But really, you'd have to get Slash and all these other famous rockers to play something different, because really, when you're talking that kind of value, it's all sentimental. It's what it means to the people who are looking to buy that guitar. They want to say they have the guitar that Slash had. They want to say they had the guitar that Eric Clapton played. They want to play just like Jimi Hendrix. When you're dealing in high dollar guitars, like the curve of what you pay versus what you get is ridiculous. Once you get above $700-800, you're probably not going to be getting much more out of your instrument. Now, that's not to say there aren't wonderful, beautifully made boutique instruments out there. 9 times out of 10, the people making those instruments, they might put $1,000 worth of materials into it. So you are paying a little bit more and getting a little bit more, especially in the craftsmanship aspect. But I'm talking more production instruments. If you're paying a couple grand for a production instrument, what are you really paying for other than to say I spent a couple grand on a guitar? Really. There are some, I like Ibanez a lot, so there are some beautiful new high-end RGs out there, coming up on the $2,000 mark. I could not see ever paying that much for one, because the difference between those and the RG 270s, things like that, are just not that much. A lot of it is hype. A lot of what you're paying for is hype. That's why I deal predominantly in used guitars, things like that, because it's what I can afford and it's what makes sense to me. For the money I spent on this guitar, buying it and building it, it plays and sounds like a guitar 3-4 times the price. So to me, that was worth it. So if you're going to mod your guitar, do it for you. Don't do it expecting to get more money out of it. And that's the big takeaway here. If you are a true vintage gearhead and you want to get top dollar for your instruments, don't mod them at all. Keep them as intact as you possibly can, all the way down to the caps. Keep them in perfect shape, because when you're dealing with a guitar that is $6,000 on the used market, a blemish or a little bit of water in the finish or something like that is going to cost you. You're going to have to drop that price $1,000. I mean, it's like that. But if you're dealing in just making the best guitar you can for yourself, don't expect to be able to sell it for what you put into it. The value, the true value of it, what it means to you, is a completely different thing. You're not going to sell your Squire Standard from 2005 for $300. You're just not. But I just really wanted to have a quick chat, and I want you guys to hit me up in the comments and tell me your experiences with buying and selling guitars. I always love hearing things like your pawn shop experiences and your Craigslist experiences. I've read some hilarious comments about stuff like that in past videos. So just let me know what you guys think, man. Your guitar is your guitar, and it's the most important value that's on it is what it means to you. If you're buying guitars just to sell them, I don't recommend modding them. You're not really going to get your money back. But anyway, that's it. Sorry for rambling here, guys. I just wanted to have a chat with you about guitar, intrinsic and actual and market value, and really see what you guys have going on out there. So tell me your experiences if you've gotten good returns on modding instruments and selling them. I personally I don't really mod a guitar to sell it. There's just no money in it. I mod guitars for me and to achieve certain goals that I set. You know, if I want a guitar to play a certain way or sound a certain way or do a certain thing, I mod them. But that's it, guys. Thanks for watching. I'll talk to you next time.